Rael Mumo, County Secretary Makueni County. I don't know why my voice is taking a dip this morning. Maybe because of the journey, the transition from a rural area to, all this happening. So, how many of us have been to Makueni? Kindly. Amazing, amazing. So, at least we can relate to the place that I'm talking about. I wish to bring very warm greetings of His Excellency, Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr., and Her Excellency, Deputy Governor Lucy Moleni. They really wished that they could be here, but as you understand, they are first-time governors, and there's an induction underway in Naivasha, so that good foundation is laid. So they sent me to come and speak on behalf of the good people of Makueni County, and of course to articulate their development agenda. Makueni County is now doing its third cycle of devolution. In the first and second cycle, we worked with all of you through the first governor, His Excellency Professor Kibuza Kibwana, and Her Excellency DG Adelina Mao, who served for 2 terms. And they laid a good foundation for devolution. We were able to make very great strides, as you are all aware. And of course, through partnering with you, a journey that we appreciate your support, your mentorship. What we would say about those first years of devolution, those 2 cycles of devolution, as we want to call them, is that there were cycles of really laying a foundation. Others did well, others, of course, did not do well. But we've learned, and we are saying that we are now able to, with this third cycle, continue to improve on that. So the current leadership takes cognizance of the 10 years investment. They are learning from that, and they are going to improve and make it better for the people of Makueni County. The leadership has outlined 4 foundational pillars that are priorities for Makueni County. 1, prioritizing the people. 2, good governance. 3 is strategic partnerships. 4, innovation and sustainability. I will kindly allow me to just maybe highlight a few of things about the 4 foundational pillars that will inform the investments in this third cycle of devolution by Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. On prioritizing the people, Makueni County is well known, for warm people, resilient people, and I think that's our brand out here. We are people who work hard. We've invested in ourselves. We've invested in the people now. So we want to say that the public participation that has worked well in many areas of budgeting, doing projects with our people, means that it is only our people who come first, because that is the spirit that Kenyans and of course the people of Makueni vouched for when we overwhelmingly say that we want devolution, we want services closer, we want them in the village, where I came from today, So in essence then, we are saying that we are moving from citizens just now coming to participate, because that foundation has been laid in our case, Citizens are aware of the budgets, they are able to speak, they are active citizens, they have been involved in most of the development work, at all stages of identifying the need, implementing together. So it's time now citizens are able to actually own this development work, not only by the county government, because even all of you are players, you're also investing in these communities. The national government is investing. So ultimately, the question is, who is left to be the custodian of this development work? And that's one of the priorities we're asking all of you to come and invest. How do we really mold our communities to be custodians of development? What capacities do we enhance? What capabilities do they need? So that they can not only harness from the county government, but even from development partners, from the national government, and even themselves. It's time communities hold conversations of from, for instance, my village, how do they also contribute to this development work? So we are saying that we want to see citizen-led governance in Makueni and in Kenya, hopefully in the next 5 years. That's what we want to entrench. So we want to invite all of you to give us ideas, to give us resources, to help us capacity build our people to start embracing their actual role in development. There's a callback that most of us are very familiar, because I know all of us are no Swahili. That serikali fanya nini? Saidia. So I think we've all been cultured into this serikali saidia. It's a good thing. It's the mandate of the government to serve the people, and we are very committed to give that service. But then after serving the people, once the project is in the community, because some of our partners who have invested in Makueni have recently shared with us that the life cycle of most of those projects is 3 years. After the government has put in the hardware and entrusted that to the community, after 3 years you go, for instance, a water project, you need a borehole or a dam, you find that it's silted, the pump is no longer working, there's a committee in place. Then there's this still waiting and saying, serikali kuja ufanye nini? We want to see communities that can be able to get organized through a committee to actually sustain a project. Let them have the capacity to actually govern it. They raise some small money, when, for instance, they're selling the water. How do they then put this back into the project? How do they even, for example, continue to even distribute that water among themselves? That is the devolution that we really want to see happen in Makueni, and of course in the county, in the country, sorry. 2, on good governance. Like I've said, in the 2 cycles of devolution, we've invested in good governance. And I believe that's why most of you, and I'm very glad, have come to invest with us in the county. How have we invested in good governance? We've done a lot of work. We are also partners. We are among the 4 counties on the OGP platform. We will remain committed to improving open governance in all aspects. We do open contracting, we do performance management for all our staff to ensure that we are able to keep on track with our targets to serve the people. We are also pursuing, hopefully by end of this year, that we are also ISO certified as a county, so that our processes are very clear and articulate. And we're also always open, in terms of accountability. We've done well in terms of financial audits, by both the national government, the Kenya Audit Office, including even the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. So we are at a good level of good governance. We are saying that we remain committed to making improvements on this. We will continue to be transparent and accountable. So we also request you as partners to help us, understand maybe more trends, in the space, in the governance space, that we can be able to actually do better good governance. Of course, we appreciate the support that the Executive Director of the SDGs mentioned. We are also doing very well in that respect. With the assistance, we've been able to do the county abstract, like she mentioned, so that we have evidence. We are working with data. We understand the actual needs, and interventions from the people, with yourselves, and other, government organizations. So we want to invite you, to engage with us and tell us about the best practices in good governance, so that you're able to, we keep on improving that. We actually, of course, ensure that we share information with all our citizens at all levels. We have a very elaborate devolution structure that goes all the way to the village, So from that aspect where we are represented in the village through a village administrator, we also have a village committee, that works with them. And, that is what you're talking about when you talk about the citizen participation. That goes to the ward level. There's a cluster committee in between that, then to the ward, to the sub-county, and then to the county. So, in all these governance structures, we share information, we ensure that all necessary information on what we do and what we invest in is shared, And we see, mostly a two-way engagement where we are able to actually involve the citizens in terms of we listen to them, they listen to us, and we arrive at a mutual understanding and decision. 3, I mentioned strategic partnerships as another foundational pillar of this government by Governor Mutola Kilonzo Jr. That's where you come in, and that's where we come in. Of course, in the 2 cycles of devolution, I believe for most of you who've been to our county, if we are not in an MOU, we have, we have a working formula together. We remain committed to the MOUs that we have signed with you, where, of course, we will need to revise them, to review them, to expand them. We are open to that engagement. We look forward to continue the good work that we're already doing together. So we really want to say that in these strategic partnerships, our government is very keen on 3 issues. As you all know, Makueni is a semi-arid area, so we are having it very rough now with water and food insecurity. We've come to understand that over time, it's what now we're calling the climate change, Over time, our climate has changed a lot, through some of the decisions that people have made, and of course, due to other climate issues, posing a lot of insecurities in terms of water and food. So this government wants to invest in that area. We invite you to give us ideas, to give us resources, so that we are able to be more climate resilient, so that we increase our accessibility to water and to food for our people. In the 2 cycles, we've made heavy infrastructural investments in water, heavy investments in agriculture. As we move forward, we want to now leverage, in terms of agriculture, we've already created value chains, particularly in fruit, where we're very dominant with the mango. We have the most juiciest mangoes and sweetest in the world. So we now want to see those products. When we come to this meeting, we want to be able to get the Makueni juice on the shelves. We request you, we invite you to come and invest in that, because we already have the infrastructure in place. We want to get the product moving. We want to, market it. You have the expertise, you have the markets. So kindly come and let us know how we can do that. Of course, in water, we've also invested a lot in terms of sand dams, earth dams, and boreholes. So it's now about making that water, clean to our people, and more accessible. And how can we even sustain, the water investments that we've done? Like I had mentioned in the earlier example, how can the communities be able to run, that water structure for their benefit and sustain it over time and actually maintain it? Makueni County has also invested a lot in the extractive, resources, particularly sand. When the first and second cycles of devolution were there was a lot of, I would want to call it a controlled mining of the sand, which now over time we've been able to manage, and we are now at a good place where we've conserved most of our rivers, So we want to say again now, we have a lot of sand. So now we want to actually industrialize this into a product, so we're inviting you to think through, to invest with us in that. So that how do we make this sand a commodity? That's our conversation. She's pointing to the tiles. I don't know if it makes tiles or what, but we're going to do that. The final foundational pillar that I mentioned is on innovation and sustainability. You actually, when Al talked, he mentioned that there are a lot of creatives in the room. So I want to say that in Makueni, we've made a lot of attempts to work with the creative industry. And of course, we have a lot of young people, because one of the big challenges we're struggling with is, challenges of not having productive employability and involvement in economic activity of most of our people, and most of these people are young people. So we would want to invite all of you to be able to onboard innovations, that would be able to create opportunities for employability for our people, economic involvement, and particularly young people. We've made a few investments in the creative sector. We have a recording studio. We've worked with the Kenya Film, the National Museums of Kenya, to be able to capacity build about, I'm not sure about the number, but I know that we've worked with the young people to build some of those capacities to actually spur their interest in the creative industry in terms of writing. How are you able to record a simple film using your phone? How do you tell a story? How do you write a story? So we are at that very initial investment, So we are calling upon you to innovate and give us ideas. How can we be able to tap into this talent that exists in our young people? How can we leverage on that creative economy? Of course, there is investment happening in Konza City, where we are told that one of the key issues will be taking the creative economy, because all of us now see what is happening in the social media. So, within the tap of that battle, that creativity is able to be marketed and sold. So we invite you to share with us some ideas so that we're able to invest together and have a more vibrant economy. When I talk about that last foundational pillar, I've said it's innovation and sustainability. Sustainability. Like you said, in the first and second cycles, we did heavy investment in infrastructure. For instance, we set up a lot of health facilities. Right now, we are saying that we realize that infrastructure investment may not be enough, but for now, we really want to ensure that we first make that operationalize and serve the people. For instance, in health, we've invested, when we came in 2013, I think there were about 106 health facilities. Now they have actually doubled. They are at about 248, We've also experimented with the universal healthcare program, which has been successful. So our conversation now is, how do we sustain this? How do we sustain what we have? How do we make the universal healthcare work? How do we sustain that? Because it requires a lot of resources. So we are inviting you to think through with us and tell us, what other innovations can we bring on board, to make the universal healthcare program be sustained? How do we make it work? I think actually we were the pilot county before even the national government also piloted with that. It's not yet taken completely in the country, but this is a conversation that all of us need to have. Again, when we talk about innovation and sustainability in healthcare, we are again also realizing from data, particularly from yourselves, that the investments need to shift now to primary healthcare. So in the last financial year, in the last 2 financial years, we've revamped our community health strategy. We've onboarded we have around 270 community health units with around 3,000 community health volunteers. So we need to capacity build all of this, because we are saying that devolution and development work has to shift to the communities, to the village. We are saying that citizens have to not only be active, but they have to actually own and be part of this development work that governments and partners and themselves are all investing in. So we want to invite you to invest with us into this community and preventive and primary healthcare strategy. I think all of us have learned from COVID that we need to invest much more into preventive healthcare. Of course, we will continue to sustain the curative healthcare by ensuring that we sustain the medical supplies, but gradually ensure that our communities are investing a lot in preventive. And also, of course, with the rise of the non-communicable diseases, that is happening a lot, even in a rural county like Makueni. When we look at the trends right now of the top 3 diseases, you'll be shocked that it's hypertension, it's diabetes, it's actually lifestyle diseases. So I think there's now very little difference. So kindly come and invest with us in this community health strategy, so that we are able to make primary healthcare the focus of the healthcare system. On sustainability, we are saying that the good practices, the good lessons that we've gleaned over the 2 cycles of devolution need to be sustained. we've not been able to do these stories, you know. I think it's time we start doing these stories in terms of videos, in terms of books, in terms of biographies, you know, because we have to find a way to actually start, you know, documenting all this information, you know. So if you are able to invest with us in this, advise us on this, you know, how these stories can be told and kept and preserved for the future, we'll appreciate to be able to do that. As well as, you know, teach our communities and teach ourselves how we are able to sustain development work and devolution work for posterity and many years to come. Of course, we'll continue to engage. I'm very open to the questions that you have. Once more, karibuni sana, mweagote mono Makueni. We look forward to continue to work together. Asanteni sana. God bless.